Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Christina Spark, and for the last 15 years, I've been working with the most successful companies in the world make high stakes strategic decisions for their business. But when it came to making the most important decision in my own life, whether or not to have kids, I felt completely stuck. And it wasn't until I discovered the work of the brilliant Ann Davidman, a family therapist, that I was able to make this decision with so much confidence and clarity. So today I'm sharing a 5-step process to make the best decision for you. Whether you are someone who is maybe on the fence like me, perhaps you're clashing with your partner on the topic, or just deciding whether or not to have that next child, all of that applies, and this video is definitely for you. So let's dig in. Step 1, deep reflection and unpacking biases. So I'd really encourage you to get out a pen and paper or open a new doc on your phone. It's just so much more powerful when you actually write it down as opposed to just think about it. I'm gonna ask you 3 very important questions that I'd like you to really deeply think about. The first question is, what are some of the verbal and nonverbal messages you received from your family, your community, your religion, society at large about having children and becoming a parent? So for myself, I realized growing up, I actually had no examples of people that were child-free by choice. So I didn't have any messages around that alternative lifestyle, but I did receive a lot of messages that, it's a woman's obligation to have children, that children are gifts. So I really had to ask myself, how did this impact my own views on having children and becoming a parent? The next question is, what are some of your fears and anxieties about having children? For myself, things that came up were, I just don't know what the world is even going to look like in the next, 50 to 100 years. Is it even ethical to have a child? Could be things like, am I going to be a good enough parent? Can I financially afford children? Just write down whatever comes up for you. And then the third question is, what are your fears and anxieties about not having children? This could be things like, what will my family think? Will I regret it later in life? Who's going to take care of me when I get older? Just write it all down. This section is really about uncovering those invisible strings that tend to pull us in certain directions, but those strings are not actually our true desires, and it's so important to be able to differentiate the two. All right, let's move to step 2, the assumption test. This is where things get very interesting. So let's start with the yes assumption. Now, you are going to pretend over the next 5 days that you have made the decision to have a child. Anytime you find yourself negotiating again or going back and forth in your head, just stop. This is pretend. You've made the decision. You are going to have a child. And now you're going to sit with that feeling over the next 5 days. And hey, if you want to do it longer, do it. I did it for 2 weeks personally. And sit with that feeling and write down everything that comes to your mind. Journal it every single day. What is coming up for you? Are you feeling a sense of happiness, excitement, or dread and fear? And there's no right or wrong answer, but again, you're just letting those emotions come up and you're just writing them all down. After the 5 days are over, you are now going to move to the no assumption test. Similarly, you are now going to make the assumption you are saying, no, I'm not going to have a child. I'm going to be child-free. And you're going to journal over the next 5 days or however long you did in the first one and write down everything that comes up for you over those days. Every emotion is valid. Write it all down. Are you feeling a sense of relief? Are you feeling a sense of sadness and loneliness? Whatever it may be, just write it down. And so this is a very powerful test because at the end of the yes assumption test and the no assumption test, you're going to have a lot of emotional data on what your gut is actually telling you. Step 3 is the conditional test. Now that you've collected the critical emotional data, let's now get practical. I'm going to ask 2 questions and again, write them down. The first question is, what would it take or what would have to happen for me to say yes to having a child and feel really good about that decision? Perhaps for you, it's things like a certain level of financial stability or a certain relationship status you want to achieve or other types of, goals and ambitions in your life. Whatever it is, just brainstorm and write them all down and just be honest with yourself. And the second question is, what would it take or what would have to happen for you to say yes to a child-free life and feel really good about that decision? Perhaps it's surrounding yourself with a community of like-minded people, or maybe you want to achieve a certain advanced degree or a career goal, or perhaps you want to spend more time traveling. Whatever it is that comes up for you, just write it all down and brainstorm everything. Step 4 is the financial assessment. I know we make a lot of these types of decisions with our hearts, as we should, but it is also important to understand that having a child is the most significant financial investment you will probably ever make in your life. And it's good to have full information before making that type of decision so you're able to financially plan. This is quite a large topic, so I've actually created a whole other video where I reveal my actual costs of having a child. My goal is to provide more transparent information to help you in your financial planning. For myself, I was quite shocked at the amount of unexpected and hidden costs there are. And it's big ticket items that a lot of people don't think about. It's the impact of your lost wages. It's the impact of perhaps needing a second car or moving to a different home that has more space. Those are actually the big things. It's not so much the pram and the cot. It's those types of financial huge life impacts. So I would highly recommend you check out that video for more information. Otherwise, you can do your own financial assessment in this step. Step 5 is consolidate, discuss, and plan. So now you've made it to the end. You've now collected an enormous amount of data that you can now digest and discuss with your partner if you have one to come up with the best decision for you. So I feel at this stage, the answer will really jump off the page for you once you really go back and review what you've written down. And so at this stage, I would recommend setting aside a dedicated hour with your partner, if you have one, and of course, ensure they've also done this exercise, and you can now share back what you've learned about yourself. At this stage, it is possible that you have come to a different decision than your partner. And that is not a failure of the exercise. The exercise is designed to help you find clarity in terms of what you want. But this is where the rubber hits the road if you have a different decision than your partner. And so I would recommend setting aside a separate conversation where you are going to come to the table and have that honest discussion of, is this going to work? This is going to be very different than any other time you may have had this conversation before. And the reason is because you are now coming to the table with a very deeply informed position of what you want and why you want it. And now you can sit down and just really understand each other's why. You can understand, hey, is there any area of overlap or any compromise that might help, both of us move forward with a decision we're comfortable with? Are there any scenarios that may meet both of your needs? For example, maybe it's the decision to have one child instead of multiple children. Maybe it's the decision to have one child in 5 years from now when you have a better level of financial stability. Or perhaps you can now make the decision of, if you want to have children, where are you going to have children? And having a stronger support system in place might be the compromise that is needed. I truly wish you all the best with this exercise. It is a very tough decision. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just about what makes the most sense for you in your life based on your values and what you want. Please feel free to drop me a comment. I would actually love to hear from you if it worked for you or how it worked. If there are other big life decisions you are struggling with, I'd love to tackle them in a new video and think of different structured frameworks to help you arrive at the best decision for you through sharing my own life experience. And lastly, if you could please subscribe, that'd be much appreciated, as it allows me to make more videos and stay informed on when I drop new videos. Thank you so much. I hope you have a good day.